Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. You've hit the spot. The place where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, and the responses are never dull. Put your thinking caps on, because the conversation starts now. Here we go. Welcome to On the Edge with April Mahoney Brains. This is the place, the location, where the conversation is pointed, the guests are sharp, the responses are never dull. And today we're going to Ireland. Okay, but she just came back from Maryland. She's American, but she's living there in Ireland. Her name is Diana Mclaughlin. And you know what? She has an unusual business model. She helps spiritual healers manage their finances. Now, don't get it twisted, brains. Just because you are in the spiritual world, it's still a gift, and you can't eat that. Universe, source, God, Mother Earth, however you want to frame it, has given you this gift, but you need to maximize it. And you are channeling for people, you are intervening, you are helping them, not predict, but to guide, release some trauma, manifest what they want in their life, maybe even conjure up a good mate, all this kind of stuff. Well, it comes at a cost. There's a cost to doing business. And I've noticed all of the healers that I talk to, they don't know how to package it. They feel guilty that they're even charging for that. Well, you better get over it. Okay. The preachers charge every day. The church charges every day. You just have a different modality and a different way to do it. But you need to be smart and you know how to manage your business. It's not your own personal slush fund. You still need to be able to manage that. So she does that. She's also an opera singer. I love that. That is beautiful. And we're going to talk about some other fun stuff, like traveling. What is it like being an American moving to Ireland? So let's welcome her to the edge. How are you, Diana?
I am great. I'm so glad to be here with you, April.
I'm glad to be with you too. A mama of three. Them kids sleep. Where they at now?
Well, two of them are watching TV with Daddy, and one's upstairs on the video games. I'm hoping that they're making their way to their beds shortly because it's after 9. It's like
I
half
know.
9 here.
Now, how old are your kids?
They are 3, 8, and 12.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, all the ages.
All the ages, and they're all of them going through a different thing right now. The 3-year-old thinks that they're 12, the 12-year-old thinks that they're 20, and the 8-year-old is just trying to make their way. I get it.
Absolutely. You dead on. You nailed it.
But it's hard in the pecking order. Now, did you have siblings?
I did. I have a younger sister. She's only a year younger than me.
Oh, okay. So you guys are running buddies.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So how in the world, let's start there, that you moved from the United States to Ireland, and how did you make the adjustment?
Well, I met an Irish man.
Mm.
Yeah. It's a love story. And I was just finishing up college in Washington, D.C., and I didn't really have a whole lot going on in D.C. And, he just was like, why don't you come out and live here for a little while with me? And we got married and everything, like in Virginia before we moved out to Ireland. We just thought, we'll just give it a try. We'll come out here. And then we came out and we never left. But adjusting was kind of hard coming from a place so busy and the energy of Washington, D.C., and like being in the energy of the nation's capital for 7 years to the middle of nowhere in Donegal, County Donegal, Ireland was like absolute shock to the system. Because, I mean, I was coming from a place with all of this culture and all of
Right,
this
right.
life, and it was just to the farm. Like I had sheep buying up the back fields,
Oh, Lord.
and I mean, the highlight of my day was walking to the shop to get myself a 99, which is an ice cream. Like I couldn't drive,
Oh Lord, I know it would be
you
a culture
know.
shock. Well, I married the luck of the Irish too, Mahoney, and let me tell you, April Mahoney opens up so many doors. They do not expect a sister rocking an afro to come through. They looking for some cute little white girl with red hair and freckles. But my daughter says that she loves Scotland and Ireland. She said that she loves the people, she loves the culture, the greenery. She wants a Highland cow and a redhead.
You were telling me about that before. I was like, that's the best thing I've ever heard. They're gorgeous, the
I
redheads and the
know.
cows.
I know. So dial back and tell us how you show up in the world and how you found this niche market and population to work with?
Okay, so when I found out I was pregnant with my third child, I was like, oh my God, I need to change my life because at the time I was working as a singing teacher and piano teacher. I had a full studio. I probably had about 50 students that I saw every week.
Oh, Lord.
I was burning out all the time and I didn't even know what that was. You know what I mean? I was working so hard and just making the money and just doing all the things because I had all this energy. Like I was in my 20s, and my 30s. And I found out I was pregnant with the third, and I went, I got to find a way to slow down, and I need to find a way to use this brain that I have. You
Right.
know, I mean, I have a master's degree. I know I'm highly intelligent. I'm like, I need something else that I can do that can help people in the world and make me feel, like I'm doing something. Um, and I just Googled, this is so funny because I've been self-employed forever. Like since I left college, I've been self-employed. When I came to Ireland, I came with a website and a dream. It was like, I want to start a music studio. And I had students before I got here that were going to come to me as soon as I got to Ireland.
Wow.
I used my wedding money, the money we had left from our wedding to buy a piano. Like I just rocked up in the local music shop and I was like, here's money, I need a piano.
Wow.
And they got me a piano. They helped me find students because they knew I had the education. And
Mm.
I like set up the studio from absolutely nothing. And then after about 3 or 4 years, I was flat out every single night. Students booked out from 4 o'clock to 9 o'clock every single night. I was so busy. And then I took on school jobs. I was teaching in different schools. I was teaching
Okay,
in
so let me
Yokohama.
dial back a little bit. What are you actually teaching? Were you teaching music lessons, voice, combination of both?
I was teaching piano and singing. I had
Okay.
some students that did both. I had some that did one or the other, but it was people of all ages, a lot of younger kids, but I
Right.
also had adults. I taught elderly people. I worked in like it's called the U3A over here. It's a place where retired people can come and learn new skills. I
Okay.
taught in there, and that was one of the most fulfilling things I ever did as a teacher. I loved it because there was so
Mhm.
much wisdom from these people, and they were so hungry to learn, and it was just
Right.
gorgeous.
Well, at that age,
Um,
they hungry to stimulate their brain because
yeah,
it's going cantawampus. But do you teach all genres of music, mostly classical, performing arts? What was that like?
there was a little bit of an adjustment for me for the way that people like to learn and move through things here. Um, they have these things here called exams, like grade exams that they want to achieve, and they go and they basically perform for like an adjudicator, and they get like a score on that. They're like, "Yay, I got my grade 3." So I had to learn about this entire system of learning that they have over here for music, and
Okay.
a lot of them did exams. They were classical and musical theater. I had some that were focused in opera, but a lot of them really just loved to do a, showstopper musical theater piece. I had a lot of
Mm,
that. I had some people that came to me that did some singing around the area in the bars and were interested in like singing in bands, and I would help them with technique because I've a lot of training and pedagogy of vocal technique.
mhm.
So I was doing so much teaching of all ages. I absolutely did love it, but I was burning myself out. So I went,
Right.
I'm having this third baby. I got to find something that works more around my family, that I'm stimulated, that I can, if I want to, I can go away and do an opera, because funny enough, after I started the bookkeeping, I got the biggest opera job of my life,
Oh,
like
wow.
the most lovely job that I've ever had. So with taking that step back from teaching all the time, these more opportunities have come, and I found different ways to use my voice. And
So now with opera, opera is no joke. You
no,
sing in different languages,
mhm, yeah,
Italian, French, Spanish. So you have to
mhm,
learn that particular song,
yep. You have
understand
to
the
know the
translation,
translation. Yeah,
all of
I
that.
do
And
all
then
that.
put on that big dress.
Yes, I love it. I actually went on tour in Germany in 2018 for 3 months, and I just got to wear big dresses. It was like an absolute dream come true. I was singing Andrew Lloyd Webber. I was
Mm,
having the absolute time of my life. But then third baby came, and I went, shut it down. I need to take a step back and find something that is more chill that I can do to help. So I
Yes.
Googled what jobs can I do from home?
Really?
And I swear to God, up came bookkeeping. And I went, what's that? I mean, I know. I mean, I've had a business forever, but I never thought that there was somebody that could do the sort of paperwork and the stuff that I've always done in my business. I was like, well, I can do that, but bookkeeping is way more than that. When I got into it and I started learning, I've taken several courses. I've worked with a lot of mentors to learn bookkeeping. I have several friends, really close friends of mine that are CPAs that are constantly like there to be my support. I have a massive group of bookkeepers that I keep in connection with. We all help each other. Um,
Dial
but
into
yeah.
that just a little bit, okay? Because people keep their personal finances, or at least they should. I remember
Mhm.
back in the day when you had a check register and you couldn't check your
Mhm.
account online every day. And you had
Mhm.
to debit, credit, figure out what you were doing. Um,
Yep.
but people don't do that now. And brains, it was once upon a time, just because you had checks, baby, that didn't mean you had money. And so
Yep.
you have these absorbent overdraft fees. Now everything is done by a card. And in my personal opinion, I'm not a financial person. I'm a podcaster, but I'm smart and I know how to handle my money. Uh, it's just another indoctrination into cryptocurrency, blockchain, following the sequence of your spending. I went to the bank the other day to put some money in for my niece, and they told me they would not take cash. They told me that I would have to do, they want a paper trail. I'd have to do credit card, money order, check. And I said, well, what's going on with the good old US currency? That's one thing. We'll talk about that in a minute. But in the meantime, in between time, give us a few good bookkeeping tips, because people don't, they just don't do it. And I know that money is tight, but if you keep your mind on your money and your money will be on your mind, you will be all right. You've got to pay attention. All of these celebrities, all of these people that win the lottery, they just go crazy. They do not know how to balance their books. So give us a few good bookkeeping tips.
Well, I can definitely speak from the business side of things because like 100% of the bookkeeping that I do is for business owners. Especially as a business owner, checking your bank balance every single day and even putting it in your journal is like a massive way to just become aware in the first place because you can't change what you don't know.
Right.
So if you don't know how much money's in there, how do you know like you can't do anything about it? So one of the things is check the bank balance every day. Second of all, get yourself QuickBooks Online and give it a go. Like if you're a business owner, you really do need to have bookkeeping in place because it's actually kind of the law. Like if you're paying taxes and stuff like that, it's your due diligence to keep proper books and keep track of your expenses and keep track of your income so that you can report your taxes correctly. Otherwise, you're paying too much or you're paying too little, and they will figure it out. You know what I mean? Because they can go in there and figure it out. They
Well,
they have
that's
access.
well, people, well, can you Venmo me? Can you Cash App? Can you PayPal? Uh, and even GoFundMe. Anything over $600 is being reported to the IRS.
At this point.
Absolutely. You're
At this
going,
point,
yeah,
yeah.
you're going to get a 1099. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
They have a responsibility to report that, and they're not going to go in violation because of you. So, you get a couple $1,000 and you think that you're getting away with something, baby. You can't get away
No.
with nothing. Nothing.
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. And another big one, especially if you're a business owner, is no matter if you're a sole proprietor, an LLC, or an S corp, whatever your business entity is, you must keep your finances separate. Your business from your personal. Keep that stuff separate because especially if you have an LLC, like the whole purpose of having an LLC is to have the protection that that provides you. And if you're spending out of your business constantly on personal stuff, it opens up all of your personal stuff to the scrutiny of the IRS.
Mm, mm, mm,
So that's called piercing the corporate veil.
mm.
So keeping those things separate is so important. And I get all over my clients because there's times that they go on a spending spree with their business card and I'm like, you can't do that, sweetheart. You're gonna, if you're audited and they see that, they're gonna want to see your personal stuff. Like, so you have to keep that stuff very separate and be meticulous about it.
So what if you're a
Uh,
sole proprietor though?
I mean, if you're a sole prop, you don't have that protection, but it still is better if you are audited for some reason to be able to go and say, here, I have kept this separate. Here is this bank account that I use for all my business transactions. You don't have to, you don't have to take out a business account. It can be any bank account, but just say, this is where I do all of my stuff. I'm not actually sure if they would come after your personal, but that's kind of why you get an LLC to protect your personal stuff, to protect yourself from getting sued and losing everything.
Right.
So I recommend that if you are in business and you're taking it quite seriously, go ahead and file for that LLC. It depends on your state. Sometimes it can be quite expensive, but in the state of Maryland where I am, it wasn't that bad. Yes, you'll have to pay like taxes and stuff because you have it, but that protection is so worth it just in case. You know what I mean?
And
Just
you
to
can have
protect.
a larger write-off too. But keeping your receipts, that is so important. Keeping
Yep.
your bank statements. Really knowing what goes in what bucket. You can't
Hmm.
take the family to Brazil, Argentina, Hawaii, Mexico, and on vacation and call it a business expense. You need to be able to justify that
Hmm.
because they will audit you. My girlfriend got audited, and I tell you, she's still taking anxiety pills.
Oh, it's so stressful. It really, really is.
But if you keep good records,
And you
you
don't need to worry.
you don't really need, well, depends on how you again processed it.
Well,
And what people
if
need
you've
to
done good.
understand is that your bookkeeper and your accountant or CPA are not your internal mafia. They're not there to shelter and wash the money. They're there to record and document the transactions. So don't say, oh, well, my accountant didn't do this, didn't do that right. Well, you signed off on it. Before I
Right.
do my taxes and send them in, you best believe I go line item by line item. And if there's not something that I understand, then I need to go back and answer that question because once you sign, you're responsible for that. They're not going to go
That's
after the CPA. They're going to go after you as the individual. Am I right?
Yeah, that's such a good point, April, to bring up. I mean, we're here to help protect you, yes. Like we're here to help you, decide if something is a business expense or not. And I would normally go to my CPA and go, "Hey, I have a weird one for you. Would this count as a?" And she'd say yes or no. I mean, they sort of know. Like a CPA will know. I kind of know at this point. I've been in this a long time. I can kind of tell you that, if you've gone on a trip out to the Grand Canyon and you paid to get into the Grand Canyon and you took some pictures for your social media and used it for like content, that's not counting as a business expense because you paid to go to the Grand Canyon. There's like things like that. And I mean, I just help my clients as well with generally deciding which card to charge things to. Like, this was a really big one with some of my clients when they started out. It was like, I don't know if this is a business expense or if this is a personal expense.
Right,
And
right,
a lot of my time is like saying yes or no. And, I have a support group for that, for like people that want to tackle their own books, that
right.
they can come in and ask me questions anytime about their books and anything in QuickBooks. So it's one of the things that I offer. Yeah.
Now,
And on the,
oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no, go ahead. And on the topic of receipts, you mentioned QuickBooks also has an app. You can just snap the picture and it goes into your QuickBooks and you can attach it to the transaction and it's there forever and ever. Amen.
Wow. And that's
Yeah.
what
So
you
we have the
do because
technology.
those receipts they fade, and they might go
Mhm.
back 3 years, and you go back and you got a bunch of faded receipts. You in a lot
They
of
do disappear. I thought, are they using disappearing ink on receipts these
yeah,
days?
it's
Like, what
crazy.
is happening?
It is crazy, but I keep good records. I really do because I don't want no problem with them. We live in the greatest country in the world. No, I don't like paying taxes, but when I go to other countries and I see that they don't have clean water, and they don't have public restrooms, that they don't, they don't have services for their people that need medical attention. They don't have services for their senior citizens. I just come
Yeah.
on, I bite the bullet and pay my taxes. That's guaranteed. Taxes and debt. So you can't get away from that, Brains. But if you don't pay them, let me tell you, it's a point and a click, and they'll put a lien on your property, on your firstborn.
Yeah.
They will suck the
Well,
most out of you, and then you've got to fight to prove that you're right. They're already holding it. Now you got to fight to get back.
yeah. And I would add to the whole tax conversation that my viewpoint of taxes are if I'm paying taxes, it means I've done well in my business. Like if you're not paying taxes, you're not making money. And it's part of my responsibility as a citizen of the world to support, the people in my society. Like we all need it and like at different times and I'm taxes like there's more taxes here in Ireland than there are
Yeah, that's
in
what I was
America.
going to ask you. What is the taxation? I know I went to Canada, and I was like, really? I didn't want to buy nothing.
Well, it's quite high here, but like they like when we pay for things here, the taxes are already included. Whereas in America, when you buy something, it's like 5% sales tax, and you don't like they add it on. Like when you go into the store and the milk is a pound, it's going to be a pound at the when you pay for it. Like there's nothing added to it. Like you
Right.
know exactly because it's already looped in.
Okay.
But the like income taxes here are a lot higher because we have socialized healthcare where I live.
Right.
I live in Northern Ireland,
And how,
and
wait,
let me
let me stop you right there. How does
yeah,
that work? Because I know there's other places like Canada, they have socialized medicine too, but they say it takes 3 to 6 months sometime to get a specialist. So is it?
that is that is true. It's very hard right now. The NHS is experiencing what I would call a breakdown in
Mm,
this country where I am. However, anytime that I have had to take my kids to the doctor, it is in and out and a way to get the medicine and a way, and I don't pay a dime. And it's like I am in and out. I was one time I took one of my kids, they were feeling sick. I was through the doctor and out the door with medicine in my hand in 45 minutes. And that for me, I was like, what? And then back in November, I got really sick and I ended up in the hospital for 6 days, the likes of which would have completely financially ruined me in the United States. And I paid nothing and they kept me alive. Like
mm,
I had a really bad bout of sepsis
mm.
and it was so bad. It was like the worst thing. I didn't know what, I thought I had COVID. I was like, I don't know. I just feel really, really sick, and it turns out I had an infection and they kept me in for 6 days on a drip, an antibiotic, and they got me the pills that I needed after to continue after, and I paid zero out of my pocket.
So now let's talk about the person that's making zero in the spiritual realm. How did you decide to move to that genre and create that niche and help those individuals with bookkeeping and financial literacy?
So about, oh my God, a year and a half ago, I sort of started this, well, it was before that, maybe like 2 years. I started this spiritual journey because I started living in the online space a lot more. And I was on my social media and I was seeing all of these like spiritual coaches, these healers, these people talking about all this self-development stuff. And I just got really like engaged in that. And I was like, this is so cool. Like I didn't realize how much, I could better myself from like having a coach for this or learning about using my intuition, or I just didn't know that this world really existed. I've always known that I have special gifts. I know that I have great intuition as a performer and as a human. I've always had that sort of sixth sense about me. I also know that my voice is healing, and I know that it heals people and it helps people. And I've always had these things. And I started working with a couple of these people that I met through um, networking groups and stuff like that, and talking to them and like finding out about what they did. And I was like, this is amazing. And they're all so chill and lovely, and they're nice people. And I was like, you guys are kind of my people, like a lot of them.
I found
I was
my soulmate.
I was just like, you guys are kind of like really awesome, and I want to help you guys to be able to manage your businesses better. Because so many of these people that are healers and stuff, like unfortunately, not unfortunately, maybe it's fortunately, they have ADHD or they have some sort of um, neurodivergent things going on, and they just have a shutdown about numbers and they just can't manage them and they don't want to manage them. They want to get on with healing and helping people, but they're like, oh my God, I don't want to look at my numbers. It just freaks them out. And even though these people seem to do a lot of money mindset work and things like that, when it comes to your own stuff, it's an entirely different thing.
Right. Absolutely.
You
But
can talk to people.
and I say this with love, you're showing up disingenuous. How are you going to tell me how I can manifest? Oh, I can help you manifest 60,000 or $100,000, and you can't balance your books. You're not looking. So when I hire you as a spiritual leader, a mentor, a coach, a consultant, I need to see what you are doing,
Mhm.
and I need to mimic exuding out of your pores, because I'm going to check you out. Okay. You're a salesperson, but you can't close a deal. You are an author, but you don't know how many books you've sold. You are an accountant and you're bankrupt.
Mhm.
All of these things will show up.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And don't overpromise and underdeliver. There's just certain
Mhm.
things you can't do. So that's why you need to hire where you're weak. That's where Diana comes in. Marketing, promotion, that's where I come in. You hire that's where you invest your money, because that's where you're going to get your biggest return on investment. That's called ROI, brains, return on investment. That's very, very important. So let's ask you some fun questions, Diana.
Okay.
If you were an appliance in the kitchen, what would you be?
An appliance in the kitchen? Oh, this just came right to me. This is like dropping in. A blender.
If I get another blender, everybody wants to be a blender. I want to be the refrigerator. I just want to chill. I just want
Why do I want to be a blender? Well, I can explain the blender thing because I believe that the work that I do is like a perfect balance of practical logic and intuition and magic.
to.
Like
Okay.
that is what I feel like I'm bringing to the table because there are people who don't, all of this accountancy number stuff. They're like, eh. But like when they come to me, they're getting both things. They're getting me leading from a place of logic, and they're getting me leading from a place of like magic and intuition and trusting yourself. And like, in my services, like I've created this really beautiful ritual for them that they can do on a monthly basis to help them sit down and sink in to going over their monthly finances. I'm recording my insights for them. I'm sending them affirmation cards, and I'm
Oh,
opening up my boxer so they can ask me questions about their financials. Like I am like 100% there with them.
you are
And
mixing it up. You are mixing
yep,
it up, and you're doing a cradle to
yep.
grave service. If you were
Hmm.
a car, what kind of car would you be?
Oh, what's gonna come to me? Cars are funny with me. I I don't know why, but a bug came in. A VW bug? Why?
What
I
I want
can't
to be,
explain
I
that.
want to be a 1963 VW Bug van
Oh, the
with the
vans.
flowers on it and the little pop top, and I can make out in the back. Oh yes.
Oh, yes. I didn't even think of that. Crap, I need a bed in the back.
That's right. Not to make no more babies though. You got three.
No, we're done. We're no more. There'll be no more. Love them though.
Okay. If what are some of your guilty pleasures? What are some of the things that you do for your R&R? Not go out with the kids, but just really, what do you do to satisfy you?
One of my favorite things, like one of the things that I do to really, like, I know it sounds weird, but it grounds me is get in water.
Okay.
So be that going to the steam room and like being in and out of the pool in the steam room. I have this lovely gym that I go to here that I can just go and like I have like released so much stuff in a steam room. I can't even tell you like and I've even written about it. I'm like, I don't know what it is, but when I go in a steam room, I can drop all this stuff. But
Right.
the other thing that I've done here in the last year, it's been a little while since I did it, but it's freaking magical, is cold water therapy.
I see. Were you in a? Did I see a picture of you in an ice bath?
Probably not. No, I've done it in the sea here in
Oh,
Ireland.
Ooh, I know
Yeah,
that's cold too.
all freezing in January at like midnight on a full moon.
I was
It was
gonna say,
amazing.
I said your balls will shrink up into your stomach, but you don't have
I
balls.
don't have any. I just turned completely red. Like my whole body turned red, but I
Was it
think
good to
that,
you? Was it, was it
yeah.
how did it feel? Was it
Oh,
exhilarating?
you feel it's invigorating. Like getting in the sea here any time of the year is invigorating because it's absolutely Baltic because we're basically, and I call it, I'm like I'm in the Arctic Circle, but we live like way far north. Like we live at like the most further north point that you can in
Mm,
Ireland, almost
mm.
besides like the head above it,
Wow.
besides Mullen Head. I'm about a half an hour from Mullen Head, which is like the top of Ireland. We also get the worst weather in the entire country, probably in all of Europe. It just rains here all the freaking time. And that has been hard. That was another fun adjustment, like just getting used to the crap weather and not getting the
Well,
sunlight. We have to,
sometimes people say that because, like in Oregon, they say that it can set up depression. Did it affect your mood and your
oh yeah,
mental health?
yep, yep. I've been through like several bouts of like really, especially around having the kids.
Yeah.
um like the postnatal depression, the isolation, and I had quite a few miscarriages as well.
Oh, bless your heart.
um Between my kids and just like all the hormones plus like lack of sunlight, lack of vitamin D, just, oh, I had a rough kind time of it. My third child was completely different because I said we're not doing that again. And yeah, but then COVID hit right after I had him. I had him in February and COVID hit in March. But
Wow.
like it was a blessing for me really because I got to sit at home and just work on the computer. I had him on a cushion. I fed him all day and I worked the whole way through it and homeschooled my other two children. That was rough. Like it was tough in some ways, but in
Right.
other ways it was a blessing because I got to be home with him and I never had any stress about leaving him because I never had to.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But it takes a lot of endurance, but also working on your relationship. Okay, I'm gonna ask you that too because you're still young and tender. You got three kids, 12, 8, and 3.
Mhm.
Um, what kind of quality time are you giving that man? Because that's baby number 4. Okay, I've been married 39 years. I do, and I still have to nurture and baby him. Don't let him get a cold or a flu. But what do you say to the working mom about sustaining that relationship? Because that's important. That's the core. It's not the
Yeah.
kids. The kids are
Yep.
gonna be fine, but
Yeah.
it's keeping him loving you and you loving him and showing that and separating yourself, finding a babysitter, going out on a date night, you know,
Yeah,
nut,
we do. We do.
all that's important.
We have a wee babysitter that'll come and we can get a wee night out now and again. But on the sort of regular, we were like carving out little pockets of time that were sort of ours. It was like that sort of half an hour before the kids get up in the morning, like just coming down here and having a cup of tea. My husband loves his tea. Like, any point of the day, if you go cup of tea, he's like, aye. And I go put on the tea and we have tea. Like every Saturday morning, we get up before the kids. We call them Waynes here. We get up before the Waynes and we come downstairs and just sit and chat and have a cup of tea. And then, like at night when the lights go out, we lock the door, and that is like we get a good hour after the kids go to bed.
But you make that time. And
Yeah.
Brains, I'm gonna tell you, if you make that time, everything else will fall in line because that lets you know that there's nothing else important. It's not about the finance, it's not about the work, it's about the quality time. You're going to get more money, you're going to get more clients, but you're not going to get any more time. And you want to invest in that. You want to create a harmonious work life balance. You want to be sure that you keep your books in order because that can cause a kerfuffle in a relationship when the money's not right, or when you're lying and sneaking and remember women used to leave things in the car, didn't want to bring them in because didn't want your husband to know that you were shopping, all that, or he's buying parts or toys or whatever, and you don't know. You have to have a sense of honesty and integrity, and that's in every aspect of your life. Diana, you have just been a wealth of information and so much fun. Thank you so much for being here on the edge. Please tell my brains how to get in contact with you. You are American. You work in Ireland. You are able to do books in what
In the
place?
US.
In the
Mm-hmm.
US? See?
Yep.
And
Yep.
I'm telling you, with QuickBooks, anything, it's just a point and a click. She doesn't have to be right there in your face. Or if you want on your face, get on Zoom like we are right now.
Yeah.
But definitely, how do they get in contact with you? Because I want them to work with you.
Yeah. My website is abundancebookkeeper.com. And on Facebook, I'm Diana Bryan Mclaughlin, and I have a Facebook page as well, The Abundance Bookkeeper. And I'm on Instagram, but I would need to tell you the handle. I think if you get Abundance Bookkeeper, you will get me. I am the only Abundance Bookkeeper.
Okay. And that's a big
Yeah.
$25 word, brains, abundance. That
Mhm.
means we want you to have a lot. We want you to have an overflow. And we want that overflow so that you can be philanthropic and you can pay back. Because money is energy, it is reciprocal. It has to keep moving. It's fluid. If you don't, you live like this, your hands are tied, you can't give, nor can you receive. And we want you like this. We want your cup to overflow. So thank you so much, beautiful, for being here from Ireland, staying up to talk to me. And my brains, I'm looking for my postcard so y'all know where you at. Okay, you don't get lost right here on the edge. You see this address right here? It's right in your face. I need you to love, like, share, and subscribe. Love, like, share, and subscribe. Go in, get a consultation with Diana. Tell her I sent you. And just kind of look at the books, especially if you are a person in the spiritual realm. Okay, it's okay to charge somebody for reading, for some oracle cards, for channeling. Absolutely, but you got to document it. Thank you so much, baby. I love you.
Thank you so much. I loved this.
Bye, brains.
Bye.